The examples of the sort of anti-trade sentiment that are coming out of Denver in the last couple of nights are the consistent, constant, and idiotic references to people's jobs being shipped overseas, and the need to protect American jobs. And the key word there is protect, because of course this is like, you know, not even very coded protectionist language, and that's obviously bad for the American economy, but it makes good politics, especially when you don't want to bring up the immigration issue.
So here's the one line that, as a libertarian, freaked me out, was Joe Biden promising that Obama would transform our economy. Sure. That kind of language. And it was the same thing with the Clinton speech, too. Clinton's taking credit for the great economy of the 90s. It's like, we really need to keep in mind the president, whoever's the president, does not have that much to do with how good the economy is. It is basically irrelevant. And to promise that Obama will transform our economy is horrifying.
There's obviously no specific libertarian issues being addressed, because no specific issues are being addressed in general. But I would say that word should be frightening to libertarians is transformation of X, Y, and Z, which usually implies, whether a Democrat or a Republican is saying it, is some sort of massive government intervention into people's lives or into the economy. Michelle Obama had previously said that Barack Obama will call Americans into service, and that was reiterated last night. And I think that is a frightening prospect for most people, and it sounds a bit New Deal-ish and a bit CCC-ish to most people.
Now, Hillary Clinton last night, I thought, was a little scary on the question of foreign labor. It was demonizing the Chinese, talking about jobs being shipped overseas. You know, the last thing, if America isn't in some sort of economic downturn, which I think is a disputable assertion, but even if that's the case, the last thing we need to do, and the lesson of the New Deal with the Smoot-Hawley tariff is pretty strong on this, is the last thing we need to do is build a protectionist wall around the country and keep out and restrict trade and restrict the ability of Americans and foreign businesses and individuals to trade with each other. So the idea that the Democrats are going to restrict trade, are going to put up trade barriers. Bill Clinton talked tonight about a war on unions. I'm not even sure what he's referring to there, but presumably he'd like to strengthen the position of American labor by keeping out foreign labor. Immigration is something that Democrats haven't talked about at all. The labor unions are obviously not for letting Mexicans and foreign laborers in.
As a surrogate for talking about immigration, they're talking about trade. Right. That's like they're like dual fears that you can hit people like, or they think hit people in the heartland with, and that is, I would say that on the libertarian point, that is one of the more horrifying sort of themes through the last 3 nights, is that free trade is some sort of evil, and that we have to protect American jobs. How we do that is presumably by putting up walls to trade.